right, what is going on, guys? Scars here, or Brian, whatever you'd like to call me. And if you guys hear any whistling noises in the background, any kind of wind, it's yet another cloudy, rainy day here in Cebu City. We're still in the middle of rainy season. I think my last video I made, actually, we were in the middle of rainy season as well. So it's kind of just one of those slow days, and figured to make a video for you guys to just have a little discussion about a topic I think many people who are living abroad, right, expats, can definitely relate to, especially in my case, as I've kind of been living between multiple countries. You guys can go back into my videos. You can see I've traveled to Australia. I didn't live there, but started with Australia, and then I, of course, lived in Vietnam. I lived in Peru, and now here in Philippines for just over a year and a half. And as you guys can tell by the title, it's kind of just relating to why expats struggle and how to find peace abroad, right? How I found my peace abroad, and maybe how it could relate to some of you guys who may have found peace. And if you haven't, maybe this can help you try to find some form of inner peace within yourself. I just want to start by prefacing here that, yes, of course, as I just mentioned, I have lived abroad in multiple countries now, and I have, of course, have enjoyed my experience living abroad in other countries, getting to meet new people, have experiences that I will carry through for the rest of my life. But it's not always sunshine and rainbows. You have to also remember you're not in your home country, and depending on your relationship with family and friends, just your overall connection back to your country, it can feel very isolating. I have a pretty good relationship with most of my family, I would say. So for me, there's going to be the negatives of living abroad over, a significant period of time. And some guys, especially older ones who maybe are retired, maybe some of their families already passed on, or they just don't have a good connection to their family anymore. I think they can find that inner peace a lot faster and more easily living abroad. And it took me some time, obviously, between living in different countries to kind of find that inner peace for myself. But having a balance where if you do have a good relationship with your family, being able to video call them, just talk to them, keep up with them in their life, being able to enjoy your time living overseas, that can really help kind of neutralize those feelings of loneliness in a lot of ways. But some people, they're not built for living abroad. And so I think that's kind of something I want to talk a little bit about in this video. Now, some of the reasons that some expats struggle, as I just said, kind of the isolation and loneliness, being away from family, harder to make genuine connections, maybe because of cultural differences. That's a big one. But also unrealistic expectations. Some people think that, I'm going to get out of America or Canada, Australia, England, wherever you guys are from, and I'm just going to go abroad and it's going to fix all my issues. That's probably one of the worst things you can do. It really is, because statistically speaking, it's not going to work that way for everybody. There's going to be some problem you're going to run into abroad culturally that's so different from your own country that you're going to feel even more isolated or separated from people than you've ever been in your entire life. So that can definitely create an unrealistic expectation that being abroad is just going to make me happier, but really it can create, as we said, those isolating qualities. And obviously that ties into culture shock, which is kind of the differences and maybe the pace of life. Obviously, language is the biggest one. Here in the Philippines, this is a very popular country for many expats because you can use English. And so there is some form of familiarity there that obviously I connect to, and many people who come here can connect to more easily and adjust to more easily and have less of a culture shock. But if you go to countries like Thailand or Vietnam, Cambodia, or when I was living in South America, if your Spanish isn't very good, that's going to create a lot of issues. And I think it's going to be pretty hard to adjust to because of culture shock. Also, financial stress absolutely is a huge one. If you're overspending, especially early on, or you're not budgeting properly. Because some guys come here with a finite amount of money which I've never agreed with. I think that if you're going to be an expat, you obviously need to come with some form of consistent income from month to month that you can rely on. In my case, I'm very grateful that I do have a guaranteed monthly income. I don't have to worry about struggling financially. But there's always the risk that you overspend too, especially if you're not earning a lot. Because Southeast Asia, while it is cheaper than it is back in the West, guys, it's getting more expensive. As is 2025, especially here in the Philippines, it's getting pretty expensive. I think that prices in the last 10 years have at least doubled. Here in Cebu City, for example, or in Manila, it's become significantly more expensive. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm moving to a new city here in just a few days. I will be sharing more information about that soon for you guys in a video, so look forward to that. I'll try to do a little vlog video there. But that is a big one, is the financial stress. So if you guys are coming here with a finite amount of money, like $20,000, $50,000, yeah, that's a lot of money here in the Philippines, for example. But that money will go away very quickly. And then all these other problems will start to haunt you. And being in a bad financial state here in the Philippines, or really anywhere in Southeast Asia, that can be a very bad situation. And you could struggle getting back home and trying to get reset, because getting back in the West and resetting yourself costs money and it's expensive. So keep those things in mind. If you're going to be an expat, have some form of consistent monthly income. I can't stress that enough. Too many people end up going homeless here because they don't really take that into consideration. And then the biggest one I would say is mental health challenges. I'll be honest, I struggle quite a lot with anxiety and depression. And even though financially I'm stable and I can support myself, I still have issues with it. And some people believe that anxiety and depression will just magically go away when you go abroad. I'm just going to tell you straight up, it's not true. I have dealt with anxiety and depression for several years, more so anxiety, but depression has been something that's kind of been following me for the last 2-3 years now, more significantly. But it does not eliminate issues with your mental health. It may alleviate it. However, it's not going to just work like a pill, a magic pill that's going to suddenly make you happy going, easy going, whatever. Because again, if you can't adjust to culture shock, or if you have unrealistic expectations about the country you're moving to, it can actually amplify your mental health struggles, and those things can become significantly worse. Again, especially if you have a very good relationship with your family or good friends back in your home country, separating yourself from that definitely can make a huge impact on your mental health. Now, I will say in my case, I do deal with those problems. However, I will say it has helped my mental health, at least to some degree. I still deal with issues, as I mentioned, but I think that if I were back in the U.S. working a 9 to 5, I really just would not have any sense of purpose working. The only thing I would, have to look forward to, obviously, would be my family. But apart from that, why am I working a 9 to 5 every day? For what purpose? I didn't have a wife. I don't have kids, as I've said before. So for me, going abroad actually does help me kind of compartmentalize a sense of being and just wanting to see and explore new things. I think what gives me bliss and happiness is just to travel and make experiences. So everyone needs to find what their purpose is and what helps them. But I just want to make that very clear that just because you're moving overseas, it's not going to be a magic fix to your mental health. So really the turning point for me when it comes to, why I wanted to be an expat, maybe I've shared this before, I'm not sure. And sometimes I always think of different reasons why I wanted to be an expat or why I wanted to live abroad. But it just really all came to wanting to fulfill my life in experiences, as I just said. I wanted to make the most of the short life that we have because, we all have a clock ticking in our life when we will not be on this earth. One day, and we all have it. Death is inevitable, as dark as that might seem, but it's just as natural as birth, as life. Death is as natural as life. It all comes together in one circle. So you're born, you live, and you die. And maybe if you believe in reincarnation or whatever other preference of religion you may have, there could be something in the great beyond. But while we're still alive, while we can still perceive reality, this is what I want to do in my life. I want to be able to travel, make experiences, see things with my own eyes, have memories in my brain, something I can look back on, have stories to tell to people. These are the reasons that I wanted to be an expat. And it all started when I went to Australia. I remember coming back from Australia, which I remember I was homesick actually when I was in Australia. I came back home and I just had this kind of overwhelming darkness come over me, like, oh my God, I actually really enjoyed being abroad and I really want to do that again. And so every time I've traveled to a new country or saw a new place, I would just always, it's like clouds kind of just dissipated from the sky and the sun was shining and I was seeing and experiencing new things and it was making me so happy. And so every time I do that, I just always smile and think to myself, man, I'm so lucky and so happy I can explore and do something new with my life. So for me, that turning point was really just going to, a new country, exploring something new. And I knew in the back of my mind, I wanted to keep doing that. I wanted to keep exploring. And I'm so happy that today I've now been abroad 4 countries and I continue to hopefully continue going to new places in the near future. Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, these are all places I'm looking into for the future. So it's just about exploring, guys, just making the most of your life, making experiences. It's not about working a 9 to 5 in an office, making the most money. Because you can have a lot of money in your savings, but if you don't have the time to use that money to go and actually do the things you want to do, what's the point of working all the time, so hard if you can't even go out and explore? So that was something that when I first came here to the Philippines, even though I was working 6-7 days a week online, I knew that at least once a week I needed to take a day off to go and explore, try something new. And I'm, again, just so happy that I can wake up in a new country every day and see and explore something new. And when it came to my peace, my sense of peace and bliss here abroad, other than just going and exploring and making new experiences, obviously you got to have a routine. For me, as I've mentioned before, I go to the gym at least 5 days a week, although I've been a little lazy the last couple of weeks, but that's okay. As soon as I get moved into my new place this Saturday, I'm going to be making sure I'm staying consistent with that again. So gym, obviously traveling, just having a sense of routine. It's really helped my mental health. It's helped kind of keep a sense of routine. I don't really have a lot of friends here in the Philippines because I'm very, very careful about who I make friends with. I do have a couple expat friends, which I think that can help some of you guys who want to be an expat have, again, that sense of familiarity with back home, maybe make some expat friends. Local friends, I think, are the best way to go, but depending on what country you're in, be very mindful of the local friends you make. You don't want to be seen as the rich guy or the rich friend that you're going to pay for everything, because then it's not a real friendship. It's just kind of they're using you. So when it comes to local friends, I have like one local friend here. I know that he's trustworthy. He's not asking me for money. So that's something you have to be mindful of. And then with the foreign expat friends, hopefully most of them have their ducks in a row and they're financially stable enough. They're not going to be hounding you for money all the time. Obviously, if it's a situation where you're close to them and it's like, hey, can I get $100 till next week or something? If you trust them enough, go ahead. Why not? But if it's someone who's kind of using you a lot for money, then that's not a real friend, is it? Purpose and projects. Obviously, I do YouTube as well, just for fun. I don't do this as any kind of career opportunity. I know it will never be a job of mine. So I just love to do YouTube and love to just put out information for you guys who want to come abroad and explore and, again, live a life that you want to live. So, and the biggest one, obviously, as I already mentioned, is just exploration and without pressure too, just being able to enjoy the small adventures. It doesn't have to necessarily be we got to go to Japan. We got to go to Tokyo all the way from Philippines. It could just be, hey, I want to go explore this small town here on the island I live at, see what they're about. And maybe there's not a lot going on there. Maybe it's just some calendarias, which are like little kitchens selling foods, or maybe there's a small little cathedral or church there or something, something very basic. But for me, that's kind of what I love about traveling, is it's a place that most people will probably never see in their life. And I get to see it with my own eyes and have those memories. And it's especially about the people that I meet, just having a really good interaction with friendly locals and just exploring and doing something new. And I think that again, is what life is really about, is just making the most of the time we have on this earth. So if there's any kind of takeaway, guys, I just want to once again kind of emphasize that moving abroad absolutely will not magically fix everything. But if you do approach it with the right mindset, you build a community, right? If you're doing YouTube or, whatever the case is, you want to make friendships, kind of having a little bit of a balance, right, in your lifestyle, you can really, I absolutely believe, find peace and happiness anywhere in the world. So that's how I found it here in the Philippines. It's how I found it in Vietnam. It's how I found it in Peru. I embraced the culture shock, and I embraced the differences between who I am and the people of that country are and what they're about. And also patience. I've mentioned that so many times, but if you're not a patient person, especially in a country like here in Philippines, where everything is on Filipino time, I'm sure some of you guys have heard that, or just that kind of laid back island culture, you might really struggle here. And all those issues that I've mentioned before might really come out and bite you, because it's going to be hard to adjust to it. So again, at the end of the day, if you can be flexible, you can understand differences in the culture, and you can just enjoy the little things in life, I think that being an expat anywhere in the world can definitely be very, very valuable. Other than that, guys, that is pretty much it for the video. If you guys have any points or anything you want to mention in the comments, I'm sure I've been kind of rambling on long enough, but I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. As always, it's been a while since I made a video. I am moving, as I mentioned, to a new place here in a few days, so I'm looking forward to sharing that experience with you guys. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.